Hello, everyone. I am just starting to tape and getting ready to go live for the studio session number 4. And so we are going to go live in less than a minute. So we are screen recording at the moment. So we will be starting here soon. But I'm just waiting to get started. So today is the 5th of July, and let me go live. Okay, they are telling my followers that I have started a live video. It's exciting news. So we will see how long that takes. I don't know why it takes so long, but it's interesting because it hasn't popped up in my other feed as well. Oh, there's Ashley. Hello, folks. I am joining myself. Hey, Ashley, welcome. You're my first person to join. Thank you. So, hopefully, you are doing well. Doilies. Yes, we are doing doilies today. All things doilies. I know it's a rather limited scope, but we're going to see if we can fill out an hour talking about doilies. There we go. Now they've announced that I've started a live video. Everyone should be joining now. There's Fee. Welcome, Fee. Hi, how are you? Fee just finished doing a lino cut of a puffin I saw. Hey, Nan, welcome. So I'm excited to see how that finishes out. I'm always amazed how you get your background so ink proof. That's what I'm having difficulty doing now. So I am practicing because on the art throwdown next week, I am live cutting, block cutting. I'm a little nervous about that, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I agree with Nan. That lino cut is just fabulous, the little puffin. Um, but I'll reach over and show you. This is my practice. And see, all of these parts here are still inking, so I have to work on getting those a little bit lower than this part. So that's what I'm practicing on. But maybe one day I can get to the level of fee lino cuts, and but we'll see. We'll see. Let's see if anyone else is going to join today. I'm going to have a drink of water. Because it is dry in my apartment today, and it is hot, which is why I'm wearing a white t-shirt. But so let's wait for everyone else to come in. But we are going to talk about doilies today, and let me just give you a little background of what started all this. One of my clients wants a Victorian Christmas. Yeah, and so I was at a loss of what to do, and so she sent me a doily making machine. Now these are paper doilies. So she ordered something and had it sent to my address and said, well, maybe you can make something with this. So I am going to be demoing that for you today, and then we're going to talk about a couple of projects using doilies and how you can use doilies in your crafting, including paper crafts and a little decorative crafts as well. So that's what got us to today. And let me just space out some things here on my station. And we have all kinds of different types of paper that we're going to work with today. I'm going to put these cards aside. So let's talk about doilies. So I am going to turn the camera around and have you look at my workstation, and you can look at some of the samples of what we're going to be doing today. So let me do that now. You will see my neighbors. There you go. And now, through the magic of camera, we'll see my workstation. Now, this is a little different look today because I had to use a different boom arm because I'll show you, I had to get some pressure on the table and it was bouncing the camera. So yes, Ashley, absolutely. 10 types. I love that idea. Velvet ribbon, clip-on candle lights, antique postcards. Absolutely. Those are all fantastic suggestions. One of the things she wants is dried flowers and fresh flowers let me on the tree. So we're going to work with those as well. And so we are going to do paper cones. So I'm going to share that with you today, and we're going to decorate those cones with doilies, with a doily, and we're going to fill those cones with dried flowers and real flowers that we're going to have little water tubelets in to keep them fresh, and then we're going to fill them with candies as well. So I'm going to show you those paper cones at the end, but let me show you the doilies that I have been making. So this is the first one, and these are a particular type of doily, and this is made with a machine from Sunlit brand machine. All these items were ordered on Amazon. So this is a Sunlit punch, and they call these full edge punches. So there's one, and these are all similar in that the centers are solid. So, so here is the second one by that same company, and if I can find it, here it is. And here is a third one. And so these are significant because they have the centers, so you can either mount something in the center, you can cut the center out. So there are any number of ways that you can use these as well. So this is a particular type of doily pattern. Once again, these are full edge punches this is the closest thing to a doily pattern. So that is that. And this is just paper from a paper pad. So scrapbook paper pad, and I'm using holiday themed papers and cardstock simply because that's what I had available at within arm's reach. So that is the Sunlit Full Edge Punch series, and so that's one type of doily. And then what I will do is I will show you those same patterns using vellum, and this vellum has a pattern on it. Maybe that's a little bit easier to see. So that is the Sunlit with this particular pattern, and then we also have this particular pattern, and this is printed vellum. And then this is just plain vellum, unprinted vellum, and this is that same pattern. They are pretty in vellum, and the nice thing is that if we use these on a lit tree, that the light will shine through. You can see my hand in the background, so it will reflect light, and so it's going to be pretty on the tree as well. And then here's the one with the printed vellum. So those work really well, and there's colored vellum as well. I just couldn't find my colored vellum to make samples, but those are real pretty. And once again, the light will shine through. You can see my hand underneath. So the colored lights, the colored fairy lights will shine through and make that really, really look pretty. And then you can also use cardstock. This is cardstock that came from that same um, paper pad for the holiday paper pad. So you can use these in a variety of different ways as well. But the one that I really wanted to show you today is the paper punch. And I'm going to demo these for you and show you what works. And this is the paper punch from EK Success. Hey Eugene, welcome. And this is the pattern, which is a traditional doily pattern that you can punch with the EK Success punch. And this is one that I'll be using more often. So this is just scrapbook paper. This is the vellum. And I will be doing some of these samples for you. And so I'm going to punch one out of the vellum using the sunlit, and then I'm going to punch some of these out as well to show you how these work. And the nice thing about these two is you can actually mount them with one of the others, and then that's what you get. So because the other has that solid center in it, you can mount this one on top of this one and get a real pretty effect. And so I maybe definitely use these doilies for junk journals. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today is that you can get a packet of 35 various size doilies at the Dollar Tree store or at any of your dollar stores. So the thing about these is you can punch them at a particular size. This will only do a 6-inch doily. So you're very limited in what you can do, but these patterns are going to be a little bit more significant than the ones that you can get at the Dollar Tree. So that's a great look. And then what we're going to be doing this particular look on the packages. So the packages are going to be wrapped in plain paper. We haven't quite decided yet what color paper, but then we're going to decorate these with doilies on the packages. So just think of brown craft paper and these as decoration. And we're also going to be making tags. We're going to do a color coordinated tag, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take portions of the doily to make a tag, and then the center section will hold the letter of the recipient of the package. So there's that, and then what you can also do is that you can edge. So what we'll do is we'll cut them like that and use the bottom part of the doily. So we'll probably cut at this ridge right here, which will leave the brown quarter circle at the top. And I'll show you, I'll demonstrate one of those for you as well. So there are a lot of projects that we can do, and there's some things that don't work, and that's what I wanted to show you as well. So I have this vellum, and this vellum doesn't work in either of the machines. So this is just too thin. And then similarly, just regular vellum doesn't work. So you need vellum that's at least 25 pounds, which is the thinnest vellum that you would use, and that is this particular one, and the 35 pound. So there's a text weight vellum, which is 25 pounds, and there's a cover weight vellum, which is 35 pounds. Those work well with the machines. These thinner vellums do not, and so I'm going to demonstrate one of those for you and show you what happens when you try to use the machines. So this is a page of the printed vellum, and so we'll use one of these as well. And this is one of the ones that does work. Hey Frank, welcome. So that is what we're going to demonstrate today. I want to show you how to use the machines so that you can decide if you want these for your own purposes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. Just I have to cut one thing once. And so I have my Carl rotary cutter. It's just because it's here. I prefer the Fiskars, but this is the one I have in this room. There are some lovely vellums out there, so start playing with vellums. There's a lot that you can do in terms of printed vellums, and you can decorate your own vellum as well. It's just have to make sure that you use the right ink to do that. So this is the vellum, the printed vellum. I just wanted to cut it out. And so what I'm going to show you first are the sunlit machines. And this is just a 6x6 square. That's the only size that these machines will work. And they all three work in the same way. And I'll demonstrate each of them for you. Hey Zoe, welcome. This has a little arrow in the corner. I don't know if you can see that. I'm waiting for the delay in my iPad, but you should be able to see that little corner. There we go, right there. That's where you line up your paper, and that's going to be significant because you're going to cut this paper out 8 times. So you want to make sure that you're always lining up. So what you're going to do, hey Kate, welcome, is just line it up in the corner, and you're going to get a cut like that. And then you're going to rotate 90 degrees. And you're going to go all the way around, rotating 90 degrees each time. And making sure that you line up with this side edge, this top edge, and that corner. And this is a lever punch, so it's real easy on the arms and the fingers. Okay, so after you do all 4, then what you need to do is you need to turn your paper over and repeat with these 4 edges that are in the corner. And I need to get a sharp tool using my X-Acto knife. And so what you're going to do is you're going to line up, but keeping in mind the only thing you're lining up is this small square against that arrow, because nothing else will line up because it's already been cut. And so you're going to press, and then you're going to get the second half of the pattern like that. But the annoying thing about all these sunlit punches is that you have to self-remove that little square. It won't fall out. You can't turn the machine upside down. Sometimes it'll go back in if you're not careful. So I just pick a sharp tool and just ferret it out like that. So, and these go by very, very quickly. It's a very easy punch. And that is that. Very quick. Once again, very easy to do. And I have some. You can decorate the edge of an envelope. Edge of a postcard. So if you want to do one of these edges, you can decorate a postcard like this. If you want, you can decorate a page in your. So this is one of my art journal pages. So you can decorate a page like this. So there are any number of ways that you can use this decorative edge for these. So that's that particular punch. And let me show you another. And this is what's left over. And you want to be careful with that because if you're gluing or have any glue in the area, it gets everywhere. So I have my trash can right underneath. And I'm just moving these over. That's one of the reasons why I have this paper, this newsprint. So that was that one. Let me show you. This is my favorite of that Sunlit brand, simply because it's the closest thing. This is the coordinating paper. That was cardstock that I used. Hello, Shamarji. Welcome. Once again, edge to edge in the corner. This is my favorite one because it's the closest thing to a true doily. And then I didn't quite line that one up, so we'll see how that works. And then you just turn it over. This is the part where I forget to do this. You can get in such a hurry. And it won't cut through. And so that's the problem, is that you have to remove that. They're not strong enough punches to cut through two thicknesses of paper that way. So if you leave it in there, you're kind of out of luck. So, and so this one worked out okay. I was afraid because I didn't line it up perfectly. So that is this particular one, and once again, you can use it. This is just the art journal page that I have, so you can use it. And what I would do if I was going to use this in an art journal is I would turn this into a reveal. So I would have this, so I'd have some text underneath that I want hidden, and then I would turn this into a lever. And so I would fold it under like so. I would cut. Let me get some scissors. I had some scissors here somewhere. Here we go. Then I would cut. And I know this isn't straight because I'm doing it on the fly. As the thoughts are coming to my mind, as racing through my mind, I'm doing these. And so what I would do is I would tape that edge down, and that way I could write some text that I want hidden underneath there, and then have it as a flap that hides it. And then I would cut these two edges off here. So that's how you can use it in junk journals as well. So I will have a couple of these, maybe. I don't know. It depends if I have the right page for it too. But that's how you can use it to hide text in your junk journal. So there's that one. And my least favorite, see, and this is what I was talking about. It's hard to see, but I have all these little dots everywhere because I was rushing, and you don't want those anywhere if you're using glue. Trust me. And it's just like glitter. These will find places you don't want them to be. And so let me show the last one, and this is my least favorite, and I'll show you why. It is a circle, but because of that, it has its own problems. So let me put this one away. So it's very hard to align a circle using rectangles. So this one, the first four cuts are easy because you have two edges to align to keep you true. The problem occurs is when you do these next set of four cuts, because unless you align perfectly, and you can see there, it's not a perfect circle. Now that one isn't as noticeable, and you could probably get away with it. And that each time you'll get that little piece that just doesn't connect. And I have no idea if there is a solution with that. I think that's just trying to turn something square into something round. And it happens each time, regardless of how careful you are. And those of you who know me and my OCD, I would try to somehow trim that out to make it perfect, and it would just send me bonkers. Now, in the big scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. You can cut out that section and not use it. For example, if I wanted to use this, probably do it something like this, right? If I wanted to use it for an ornament, um, or have the reindeers flying across the ornament, something like that, you can do something like that, so you wouldn't have to have that in your particular design. I know, Ashley. I know but you know me. It is minor, and people probably wouldn't notice it, and you probably wouldn't have noticed it if I haven't mentioned it. But yeah. Hey, Jennifer, welcome. So that would bother me. Most people it wouldn't bother, and most people wouldn't even notice it. So that's the world I live in. So you'll have to excuse that, but yeah. But that's the only particular reason why. This is my least favorite, but it is a great punch, and these are relatively inexpensive punches, from what I've been told. I haven't looked up the prices yet, but I don't think they're that expensive. So that once again is the Sunlit brand. These are the lever punches. Once again, they call them the full edge punch, and those will give you doily style paper cuttings with the centers intact. And so once again, if you wanted, you could layer one of these other on top and create some fascinating things. So I think this one's a little less successful, but this is the one that I particularly care for, is this one here. I think this makes a great combination here of the vellum and of the cards, of the scrapbook paper, or even the cardstock would work. So that is that one. So I've done that. I had, okay, so let me go to the star of the show. Well, first of all, and this is one of the hacks that I have, is I have a whole bunch of trash cans in my studio. And so what I do is I have one underneath my desk here, I have one underneath my gluing station, and I have one underneath my paint station, so that I always have a trash can at hand. When I was taking classes at the book center in New York City, they would just tell us to throw all our trash on the floor. And it was kind of fun, so you would just take stuff and just throw it on the floor. Hey, Giddy, welcome. We're talking doilies today. So I can't do that here in the studio, even though I do allow, one of the things I do allow to fall to the floor are cut pieces of paper, because sometimes I cut paper in my lap. So the idea is that if I was cutting, let's just say this one, right? Um, that if I cut this, this will fall to the ground, and I'm okay with that because I can pick these up. And the other thing, one of the other things I learned at the Center of Book Art is never try to catch anything, because as soon as you try to catch something that's falling, you try to catch the wrong thing. So I think that's where they're coming from at the Center of Book Arts, is don't catch anything that's falling to the floor. Fee says she has lino all over the floor at the moment. I had um, that rubber stamp material. I had this all over the floor as well. Um, and I had a teacher that was very particular about allowing things to fall to the floor. And like she said, that when you start trying to catch things, it becomes a natural reaction to try to catch it before it gets to the floor. And when you start dealing with sharps, then it becomes a problem. So she says when things fall to the floor, all you do is you take a step back and let it fall. Because if something like this tries to fall to the floor and you try to catch it, it's going to be dangerous. Even these very little scissors, these are very sharp scissors. These are micro scissors. These are cutter bee scissors. that these could hurt you, and why you try to take a step back because you don't want that stuff falling on your foot either. I had one professor that made us wear steel toe shoes for the first couple of days until we learned to allow things to fall to the floor. So that's why I have no problems allowing things to fall to the floor. So the star of the show is this monster, this beast. This is the EK Success, EK Tools. This is the doily maker, and this is the starter kit. So this comes in a variety of different sections. So this is all magnetized, by the way. So this is the die cut. The die cut comes in there. You put this in here. You put this back on. I'm sorry, you don't. Nope. And you put this in here. Right? And this fits in here, and that's how it comes. So it comes in two parts. This is the starter kit, and then you can buy replacement dies for different cuts. And then, yeah, Fee says, same deal with anything. Never try to catch anything moving and handling rule. Absolutely. So to put your die in, so when you get your system, so to speak, um, this little lever here pulls back. You're going to put the front end, and this has two different sides. So you can say this is the raised side and this is the flat side. So you can pull this lever back. You're going to put the head of your die in so that the flat side is up. Okay, and so that's engaged. And then this is the press unit. So that's the machine. You can get other dies in here. Martha Stewart had a similar die. She had a similar doily machine. It had several dies, and I've been told that those dies work in this because she discontinued her doily maker, but she replaced it with a ring maker, or circle maker is what she calls it, and I'm still trying to find out if those dies fit in here as well. I think what happened was that saw there was a similar tool. She changed her brand, her model, so it wouldn't be too similar. And so everything is magnetic. So there's the magnet. Magnet goes there, and it goes rolling across the floor. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully I didn't bump the camera. And then this locks into place as well. Okay, so you're supposed to be, this makes a 6-inch doily. And so I can't figure out. I had to start off with an 8-inch piece of paper. So so what I do is I measure about to the bottom where this little catch is, and then you take the magnet, and it's supposed to be self-sealing. And then what you do is you rotate it to make sure that all the corners cover the die that's going to be cut, and you don't want anything in the way. And this clicks. I don't know if you can hear. I'm going to stop talking and see if you can hear it click. Can you hear that click? So that's how you know the magnet is in place. And so then what you do is you take the unit and you put it on top until it clicks in place. And then you can do this single-handedly. I'm going to do it double-handedly, which is why I had to change my camera setup. And so just press both hands, and that is your first cut. And then you're going to rotate it. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that it's a little off. You want to make sure that there's this little sliver of gap there. It's fine if there's not, but you're going to save yourself some extra effort. Okay, and then you're just going to keep on rotating. Okay, and you're going to do this a whole bunch of times until you are finished with the circle. And I'm just doing this for leverage sake. You can do this sitting down. This is actual cardstock, so also it's a little bit thicker. And the other thing is that you want to, if you do it with vellum, you want to make sure that you do it with both hands as well. Because you need all that power to push through that slick vellum. And I'll show that to you in just a second, because I'm going to show you this in all of the different patterns and all the different materials, I should say. And I just have one more. Okay. And then this is what you get. So, yeah, see, Fee, that's the thing. And this is one of the things that why I wanted to share these kind of, why I wanted to have this show is so that you can see that what is out there. And the problem is that, people have called me, an enabler. But I want to show you what's out there so you can decide if it is something that you want or that you need. These are specialty products for me because a particular client, um, well, let me just, a particular client um, actually bought this for me. But if I was using this for a client that I was designing for, what I would do is these in essence would be free because then I would then charge the client in my fees for all these tools because this isn't something that I would necessarily need on my own. So that's the thing. And so I'm glad some of you mentioned it is a pretty color. And then if you back it with vellum, it's pretty as well. But there is a special vellum that I may join this to, and this is a printed vellum with snowflakes, and it has these little dots, fluorescent dots. There you can see some of the color of the dots. So I may join the two of these together in some way, so that you can get that snowflake feeling. But once again, the other thing too is I can use this on any kind of solid background for gifts. There are any number of cards, ways that you can use this for card decorations. I think one of the ones, let me see if I can find it. I thought I had a card blank. Here we go. Here. One of the ways that you can use this for greeting cards is if you fold it in half, and then you can use it on the front and then just put a sentiment or some other thing that you have. I was thinking about using this for like sympathy cards. So have so sorry for your loss or something, some salutation on the front, sentiment on the front with one of these doilies, and I think that would be a great card base. And you wouldn't need much more than that. So you can do something like that. So what in essence it would be look something like that, and then this would just be folded over on the other side. So that's one of the things that I wanted to share with you as well. So that is how you do this. And then once again, I'll show you. Let me get all these scraps out of here because they'll drive me crazy. And then what you can do is, once again, you can either use the circular pattern and the center on a little tag that you can make. These are just 3-inch squares, a square punch. Absolutely, and I'm glad you said that, Fee, because I have some tricks up my sleeve as well. Hello, Summer 87, welcome. So you can make a tag out of that. You can also use the bottom section for a tag as well. You would just cut it off here. There are any ways that you can reduce this. Let me see if I can do one quickly for you. Whoops. So if this should be 3 inches, so let me find the center point of this. Okay. So this is half. So this is half of the stencil. So if I go back, granted it would be a much prettier color, much more appropriate color, but you could do something like that. And then if I go back again and do and then this is a quarter of the stencil, so you could do something like that for a card, and maybe even do 2 of them. So I'm just thinking outside the box. You're seeing this as I'm thinking it up. So, these are ways that you could use these stencils in quarters. And then what you could do is probably what I would do is something like follow the line of these little half circles. See, and this is the stuff that keeps me up at night, thinking like, oh, how can I use that? You know? And so the idea is then you can use something like that, and just cut off these edges there and do a tag. So there are any number of ways that you can use these in full or in parts. So, oh my goodness, how is it already a quarter till? This hour has just gone by so fast. So let me just do this one more time for you. I want to do it in the vellum so you can see it in the vellum. And then I'll use one of these other samples that I have of the pretty ones. And then we will show you some other applications. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this quickly. Now, one of the things you want to be careful of is sometimes if you don't push real sharp, that this will get stuck to the little pieces if it doesn't cut. So that's what you want to make sure that's why I'm in the vellum. I use 2 hands. With the paper, you can do it with a single hand and without any problem. I'm sorry the camera is shaking as much as it is. But at least it's not going out of focus, which is what I was afraid of. Or at least I'm not pixelating as I have in the past. And one of the other ideas that this particular client had is she wants me to make holiday wreaths out of doilies. And so we're going to be doing that as well. And the only reason why I'm thinking of the holidays in July, because it's really 6 months away, is because I don't know if I'm going to be working anywhere else. I don't know if the theater will be open. I don't know if we'll be allowed to have shows in the theater in December. So I'm loading up on personal clients because I don't know what my employment situation is going to be. So, so that's why I have to think of Christmas in July. So this is this particular pattern, and I just, with this printed vellum, I just think it's such a gorgeous look. Um, so that's how you do that. And like I said, I'm really enamored with these. So this is my favorite pattern of all the ones that I've shown you. And there's so many things, I started thinking, try to think outside the box, which is in essence what people pay me to do. Um, and so that's what I wanted to share with you. So there are a variety of things. Exactly. The vellum in general, this particular printed vellum is a Victorian pattern, and it's printed in off. You can see, yeah, there you can see it. It's printed in off-white on clear vellum. So that's a great look as well. Um, and then I'm really enamored with this particular vellum as well, with those little sparkly dots on it. So there's that. And then getting back to Fee's suggestion is I'm just going to get one of these. And let me just steal over to my studio and see if I can find one that works, that will work, that will demonstrate well. So one of the things you can also do, as Fee suggested, is you can use it as a stencil. And so this, let me see if I can, this is a little bright, but this is alcohol inks, and you would be much more careful than I am. But then you could use it as a stencil like that, or you could use it as a stencil. I got this got a little out. There we go. The other thing is you can cut one of these out and use it as an uh, icing sugar pattern on the top of a cake, and cut this out and have coordinating. Um, but so that's a way that you can use this as well as a stencil. If you don't want to do that, you can also buy stencils that are doily inspired. So, and then you can use these for those same kind of purposes. So here is a doily inspired. This is a mandala really, but these are stencils that you can use to get a similar effect with paint. That was alcohol ink. So you can use that. Here is another mandala that would make a nice doily effect. There's another. And these are all stencils. These are all plastic stencils that you can use. There's this one. And you can use these on cakes as well. So, for your fruit cakes and your holiday cakes and things like that. And this one is a true doily pattern. So if you want to coordinate. And then I'm sure that for those of you who have cutting machines, I am sure in Cricut and in Silhouette, all those studios will have doily cuts already designed for you, so you can cut doilies that way. So one of the other ideas that I had as well, let me just fold this up because it's wet paint. Okay, this was the cone idea that I was thinking about doing. So this is a cone of, let me see if I have any scraps left. Oh, here it is. So this is just wrapping paper, or wrapping tissue, I should say. It's not even wrapping paper. So this is wrapping tissue, right? And then what I did was I lined the bottom of it so it would give it more shape so that I could roll it. And so I just took a piece of just scrap paper. You can see it down at the bottom. And then I rolled it into a cone. And then I took a doily from my favorite doily maker, which was this one, the EK Success, right? And then I made it out of this gold paper. And then just taped it to the back. And then what I'll do is I will take a ribbon and then I will, um, hello, my Nikon shutter art, welcome. I will take a ribbon, right? Or we could take a letter, either a calligraphy letter or a foam letter or something, and put that in the center. But these are the kind of cones that, not this particular color, but these are the kind of cones that we're going to put in the tree. And so what I will do is I will put um, dry flowers in here so they come out through the top. I'll put fresh flowers in here that have the water tubes at the bottom. And then we're going to put candies in here. So we're going to put individually wrapped candies in here for the children. So just think of a tree festooned with all of these cones, these paper cones. Now, they may not be as big as this, but I just wanted to give her an idea of what I was thinking. I didn't have a starched napkin at my disposal, so I just used a one of my handkerchiefs. So the other thing we can do, what we're going to do is for the dinner table, is to have a starched napkin, wrap it in a doily that's been cut, and then tie it with ribbon. And so that's another way that you can use your handmade doilies or even any doilies that you purchase. So this is what I should have this upside down. The black should be at the top. It's a little bit more elegant. So theoretically, it should be like that. But um, so so that's the idea. Hey, Carrie, welcome. So that is our lessons in doilies and in doily making. So let me know if there are any questions that you might have, any general ideas that you might have. Once again, this was the star of the show. This is the EK Success Doily Starter Kit, which leads me to believe that they will have more die cuts and more different patterns for this. And what that will entail is that you will get this unit, this punch unit, and the die cut that goes into the base. That would be what you would buy, and you'll be able to use and design different doilies. So that's what that is. Let me know. That's all right, Carrie. We all have things to do. Um, so what do you use to ink the vellum? See, that's an interesting question. So what I would do, it depends on what you want to do with your vellum and how you're going to ink your vellum. So if you're going to use, you can use printer's ink, but you need to use oil-based ink uh, because it's a slick surface. So if you're going to do that kind of printing, you can do that. Um, Believe it or not, you can get vellum that has um, laser printing capabilities, and you can also get vellum that has um, inkjet printing capabilities. So just look for so you can print on them in your printer. If you're going to use rubber stamps, you need to get a stamp that has pigment ink. Now this one's dried out. I just pulled it out of the box, but you want pigment ink to print on vellum. And so that's what you would need to use. So so let me just go back to, so this is standard vellum. You can use any ink on this. You can use fountain pen ink, you can use pigment ink, you could on any of this. It's just that you want to make sure that you allow it to dry in time. So this is the one, these are the ones that wouldn't print, wouldn't cut. So let me show you what happens if your paper is too thin. So this is this particular one. Oh, this one, of course, now it's gonna cut. Um, let's see. What happens? It doesn't necessarily. Oh, did this one too. So never mind that. Pigment ink and solvent ink are two different things. Pigment ink is super saturated ink, and so that it's more likely to stay on a shiny surface. So that's what you want. Solvent ink is used in printing usually. So that's used in like block printing or printing on printing presses. So that's a little bit different, and that's usually oil or petroleum based. So you just want to make sure that um, you find out what kind of ink you're working with. Now, this particular ink, this particular vellum, this is printed vellum. This comes in both laser jet and, uh, I'm sorry, inkjet and laser capabilities. So you can put this in your tray on your printer and print directly on it. Um, so, uh, hello, Kubla Constance, welcome. We're almost done, but welcome. So just when you're looking at your vellum, just make sure that you know what kind you're getting. So that would be the only thing that I could suggest to do. Um, this is the old onion skin. So this isn't, you can write on this. Fountain pens will write on this. This will hold mostly any kind of ink. So yes, the stays on brand are uh, archival inks, and so those work as well. So that's the same thing as this, as pigment ink. So those will work on slick surfaces. It's just that you want to make sure that you allow time to let it dry. That's the only thing, is because it will streak if you're not careful, if you rub against something, and it needs time to dry. So that's what you want to make sure that StazOn is a great brand. StazOn is also a brand that you can use for for embossing inks as well, for embossing powders. So maybe if you don't know what embossing powders are, let me know, and maybe I'll do a studio session on embossing powders. But what that the reason why those are significant is because it stays wet longer, and so you can put the embossing powder on it, and it sticks to the powder, so that when you heat it, it liquefies it. So that's why you want something that stays solvent longer, so that you can do things to it. But once again, those because it stays solvent longer, it becomes your enemy in terms of smearing and streaking. So that's the significance. But StazOn is a great brand, and it's the one that's one of the two brands that are most highly recommended. Um, Nan says a tutorial embossing powders would be great. Okay, great. So we'll definitely do that because I love an embossing gun. I love using a heat gun and emboss. And it's like magic in front of your eyes, watching it turn liquid and solidifying. So I'll definitely plan on a session for that for a future studio session. So hopefully that has answered your questions about the paper choices that I've used, about the different uh, doily makers that are available. This is the one that I highly recommend. If you can get more dies for it, I'd recommend it even better. I think this is about $30 for the starter kit, and then for each of the dies should be less expensive. So keep that in mind if they're even available. But that's how I am planning on using doilies this holiday season. I'll leave you with um, my little roll here. So if you don't have any other questions, we'll call it a night. I've got a minute and a half left. They're already giving me the countdown. So have a great weekend. Hope you had a great 4th of July. And I will see you next week. Don't forget, Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern is the Art of the Throwdown with Allison and I hosting Allison's State of the Funyon, and then studio sessions on Sundays at 2. So that is all the time we have for today. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.